edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
All right, everybody, welcome in to Real Talk with Spoon and Pudding. This will be episode 64.
We've had our had our summer break, huh?
Yep. Got our vacations over and get everybody lined back up. Get it going. I'll be the one and only Big Spoon.
I'll be the Mr. Pudding. So,
all right, the primary purpose of this podcast is to educate and share thoughts and opinions. When we have proven evidence on a topic, it will be brought forth. This podcast does not constitute advice or services to anyone. Spoon and Pudding do not accept any responsibility or liability for our guests or anyone's comments or actions based on the material we talk about on our podcast. This podcast is for private, non-commercial use, and everyone should ascertain that the information we provide is correct and verified at all times. There shall be no adding to or reproduction of this podcast without prior written permission from Spoon and Pudding. You can reach us at Real Talk with Spoon and Pudding at gmail.com. Well, where you want to start?
Well, let's start with the movie that come out while we were on summer vacation that everyone's trying to keep quiet, I think. Oh, yeah, I know. You got to play with your new toy. Prime Day. He's sporting the Bezos. Oh, boy. So, what did you think about it? Come on.
Well, I thought it was a good movie for the story they were telling. I just wish it would have had a lot more to do with what it encompasses here in the country because, your everyday folks and all that, I don't know if they really understand that slavery is alive today, more multiplied by 100 times more than it ever was in the history of the world.
I wouldn't put a number on it. It's a lot bigger.
Well, you got to understand that every 40 seconds in this country, a child goes missing. Every 40 seconds, and
Congress and government are quiet on that. But they want to pass a bill because 40 some odd thousand people, including 45,000 people killed by guns, and
we got all
including
of it.
Suicides. Yeah,
we got all of it. But the child sex slave industry in this country is a $15 billion a year monopoly. And so, if you don't think slavery is 100 times worse today in this country than it ever was, it's probably more than that. It's, I understand different kind of slavery, but it's a worse kind of slavery if you really want to look at it, because we're talking about children here, innocent kids that can't defend themselves. So I recommend everyone, if you haven't seen the movie Sounds of Freedom, and you don't really think about the things that go on, you need to go see the movie to put a little bit in perspective. And then we're going to talk about all this other stuff, like Puddin was talking about, where our politicians want to take away guns and our Second Amendment over minuscules of fatalities, people getting killed with guns, even though a major of them are suicide,
or at least half, almost. Half of the reported numbers are suicides, and so you can't. If you looking at their numbers, it's depending on 5% to 10%. But Congress will act on taking away your rights because truth is they're scared of you having your right. It's not because they care about you living or dying. They don't. you're just fluid for them to take advantage of, to live off of. I've never believed it, and when they started with the whole, China flu or whatever you want to call it, I was like, this is just another lie. I mean, they did it with swine flu, they did it with bird flu, they did it with SARS. SARS, I mean, South Park did an episode of SARS where they were rubbing a Chinaman on Indians' blankets, the Indians were rubbing a naked Chinaman on a blanket so they could give the Americans SARS. South Park did that episode like 15 seasons ago or something, 10 seasons. It was hilarious.
Well, I don't know if you can find it on there while I'm reading it, but this is back to 2021. More Americans died of gun-related injuries in 2021 than any other year on record, according to stats. The rate of gun deaths, a statistic that accounts for nation's growing population, remain below the levels of early decades. In 2020 year, the most recent year, completed data of 48,830 people died from gun-related injuries in the U.S. That figure includes gun murders and gun suicides, along with three less common types of gun-related acts, accidental, law enforcement. But if you look at the graph of those of those gun-related deaths in 2021, 50 of them, which is 26,328, were suicide. All right. 53% were murders. So you had let's just go ahead and round up, 21,000 people died from murderers.
Legitimate. Yeah. Didn't want to die, but were,
legitimate gun death from murder. 21,000. 26,000 was suicide. All right. What I want to put that in perspective. All right. Let's put that in perspective. 460,000 children are reported missing in the United States every year. All right. You had 21,000 people die from gun-related murders, not of their own volition. 21,000 people lost their life. All right. But you had 400,000 children come up missing in the same year. All right. So you have your politicians that are supposed to represent us, that they're going up there trying to pass laws to take away our rights and our liberties. Over 21,000 deaths. Let's put this in perspective. 21,000 people lost their life.
It's like 3%.
But parents lost 460,000 children in this country in the same year. Is that even on the same level?
Mm-mm.
Not even on the same level.
And even if let's put it into the perspective of they were forced into child slavery, which is what the movie was about, sex slavery. And it ended up he rescued some people. He was a guy from Homeland Security who rescued some kids. Like, think about that kid the rest of their life. Even though they were survivors and reunited with the parent, think about the trauma. I mean,
well, that little boy, how old was that little boy? 4 or 5?
It was in the movie 8. It was 8. The boy was 8 and his sister was 11. So spoilers, we could have spoilers, but what I'm saying is just. But
he didn't look.
It said he was 8 on the thing. I remember one of the things where it says he was 8.
When they took him, he was 7, and then when the guy was looking for him and found him, he was 8.
Yeah. So you got. Where's the numbers at?
Imagine that your 7-year-old son and your 10-year-old daughter, because I think she was 10 are taken and sold off into slavery, and then by chance a year or two later that you get them back, they're not the same that you had, and they'll never be the same ever again. And the reason this is,
I'm just saying, using the full number, it's I mean, it's crazy. It's 10%. And that's just this country. That's not counting the world.
Oh, that's just this country. What did you say the other day? There was 85,000 immigrant
well, they
children.
Said, that was a fact from somebody who was reviewing Sound of Freedom.
Right.
I think it was Luke Radowski. He was reviewing it, and he said 85,000 85,000 children who have crossed the border illegally in the last year have gone missing.
Yeah,
And
that's
can't
just
be
the
found.
that's
And they're suspected.
but that perspective. That's not including their country and other parts of the world. That's 85,000 that crossed the border into this country that are
have
missing.
went missing. Yeah, it's twice the number of people, including suicides. 75% of the number, if you take away the suicides.
So the reason this
is Congress doesn't act. Congress is quiet on this, and our congressman, which I've been back on Twitter blistering
John Rhodes.
him a lot. Yeah, I've been blistering him. I read another article about him and his young little wife. It's hilarious.
The reason this hits home for everybody, should hit home for everybody, but even in this state, because the top 10 states of missing people, you think Tennessee would be in the top 10? You wouldn't think they would be, would you? But you got California, Florida, Texas, Arizona, Washington, New York, Michigan, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Tennessee. New York City has more people, probably about times 5 than the whole state of Tennessee. But we're on the same list of missing persons. I'd have to look at the population. It has a whole lot of people in that one. So Tennessee is in the top 10. The same in the same with New York. I mean,
one of them isn't missing. She just married a congressman.
Yeah,
Stockholm syndrome. Sometimes people enjoy their captor. I mean, maybe, I don't know. He did get her a scholarship, or so a news report says. I posted the news report on one of my Twitter cynical replies where it was talking more about that, where they were in Gatlinburg. She was 17, got an FFA scholarship, because he was blasting the thought of student loan forgiveness. He was blasting it. And I thought, you redistributed a scholarship to a young 17-year-old girl, which you married 4 or 5 years later.
Right.
You didn't bribe her. He wasn't grooming her. Sick ass. Whatever. That's our government, people. That's what you guys are extorted to pay for.
All right. So if we're going to take 21,000, let's do that. 21,000 of the gun-related deaths were murders by using a
460,000.
Yeah. So you tell me what is the biggest number here? 21,000 or 460,000? I mean, just common sense. What's the biggest number? 460,000.
Well, you would think the way Congress votes against guns, it would be the 21,000.
But me and you talked about that. They tried to get this. They tried to keep this movie from coming public. It should have been out 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah. The truth, like from what I've been hearing about this movie, is it was finished 5 years ago. It's been sitting in a can, and powerful people are trying to stop it from coming out. The bad thing about this movie is not a mention of Epstein. Not a mention of that man.
That's what I was getting at. It didn't.
It didn't even scratch that. That at all. It didn't touch it.
Do you think? I think a lot more info in it when they wanted it to come out, but the only way they got to show it was they got to take some of that information out before they would let it go through the big.
I don't know what was in that. I mean, this was just a story where they were following this Department of Homeland Security guy who happened to catch a boy and then bring his father up and then get involved in going down to Colombia, and then bureaucracy's trying to stop it. I mean, we'll send billions of dollars over to Ukraine. So according to Lugardowski today, Henry Kissinger got pranked and accidentally said that Ukraine was behind the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which we kind of funded them a little bit. But they were bitching at this guy for trying to save children from sex trafficking ring and spending U.S. dollars on all kinds of stuff, but don't do some good. How dare you try to do good? Well, you know what I mean?
Well, the whole reason we got some comments. I didn't even see that. Joseph Bick said 21,000 voters rather than 460,000 who can't. I can't disagree with that. the whole reason.
Don't worry, don't worry. The 21,000 still vote. They just vote for who. They're still voting.
Are those Democrat voters?
No, they're voting for the party that's not libertarian, in my opinion. Well, we got to swing the libertarian votes over here and over there, in the freest and fairest.
I mean, the whole reason that movie was delayed, I mean, you can probably agree with this, is because Hollywood and the politicians are behind the whole sex slave industry in this country. That's why the Epstein list. How long did it take for it to get out? And we still ain't got all of it.
No, there's a lot of that missing. There's a lot of videos missing. There's videos.
So,
like I said,
that tells you that the politicians don't care about your children.
Well, the guy that was let me go. I'm gonna look his name up. Go ahead. Sorry.
If the government and your politicians and even local level, not city but state, local, if they cared about your children, would 460,000 children in this country go missing? Absolutely not. While they stand by and say, let's take away your guns because 21,000 people lost their lives. 21,000 compared to 460,000, that's not even a drop in the bucket. I don't want to hear nothing about guns. All right? Let's end the child sex slave industry in this country. Let's get it over with. It's got to be abolished. If we got to drop a nuclear bomb on that thing, that's what we got to do. Same thing with DC. If we got to get rid of all them politicians that are involved, that's what we got to do. Because they don't care about us, not our children. All right? They care about votes, just like Joseph said. They care about keeping the power, and they care about money. They don't care about anything else. If you need any more examples of that, go watch the movie Sounds of Freedom, number one. Go watch all the documentaries on Waco. Look up history and read it. The government doesn't care about you. They don't care about your children. In Waco, how many children did they kill?
Did you watch the fluoride video I sent you? Oh, Waco? Oh, we don't know. 20, maybe. 20 or better.
They evacuated. Koresh let some, when the final say-so come down, they burned that place down. They didn't care about them kids in there. They won't say.
Oh, they said that. Oh, no. The official is, we got, let's play both sides. Even though we've seen the fire tanks, the official said that it was started from inside the building. Tomato. The fire was started and the building was
like
still
they
surrounded.
tried to say that Koresh and the Davidians fired the first gunshot, which we all.
What I'm saying is this. The thing about the Mark Middleton, a former Clinton staffer who decided to kill himself with a Stoeger 12-gauge coach gun. All right.
Yeah.
The gun traveled 30. He hung himself while shooting himself in the chest with his gun, and the gun traveled 30 feet per Perryville, Arkansas police.
You believe that?
Clinton was on Epstein's plane how many times? You see what I'm saying? They love to diddle the children.
If you look around the Clintons, you find a lot of deaths that are circumstantial.
There's a lot of mysterious disappearances around the Clintons. There's a lot of mysterious things that go on around those guys. But again, like we say, and I'm just looking at the stats. The Clintons, everybody praised Clinton for the assault rifle ban in 1994. It didn't help anything. The gun crime didn't really. We had Columbine. Remember Columbine happened during the assault weapon ban. What did it do? And when people argue that the biggest mass shooting was Vegas,
no.
Well, they argue it. I was telling one guy, we were having a debate about this, and I said something. He said something about mass shooting means one shooter, and I said, was Columbine was that a mass shooting? Yeah, well, there were two shooters. So if Columbine counts as a mass shooting because it had two shooters, then Wounded Knee counted because it had Had a bunch of shooters.
And
Does it matter how many shooters are there? It was still a mass shooting.
If anybody knows anything about the Vegas deal and researched that and looked at everything, there wasn't one shooter, and he wasn't solely up there by himself.
No, we ain't got I'm sure usually when things are legitimate, the video footage comes out pretty quick. And they love to release it to prove it. See, look at this crazy lunatic. Look at this nut job. Watch him act. Look, there they go.
Yeah.
For some reason, all of them cameras at Mandalay Bay just failed.
Yeah.
Oops, they don't work. Either that or you're hiding something. And there was also the I heard the conspiracies that, you know, what was it? Oh God. Go ahead. I've lost it.
You never had it there, buddy.
Well, whatever. Now, there was a conspiracy about the Mandalay Bay thing. Oh, that the owners of MGM, because MGM owned Mandalay Bay the day before they were dumping stock. Like they knew it was going to happen. They knew something was coming. You know, that was the conspiracy part that I heard. It was just a conspiracy, you know, just like.
Who was the singer up there at the time? I forgot.
Jason Aldean. He owns a bar down in Nashville, I see, because we rode through Nashville not long ago.
It wouldn't put me past it that he knew it was good.
His tattoo says he did.
Yeah.
He's
That's
got the Full House tattoo on his arm with a black sun. The Vegas Illuminati card has that. Well, it doesn't have the black sun, huh?
Would it surprise you if he came out and admitted that he knew it was going to go down? No.
No, he's probably just a part of the useless tool, you know, where if old man Kissinger wanted to come over and diddle his little butt, he'd say, sure, go ahead, Kissinger. You know, I'm your little bitch. Sorry. What the hell? You shouldn't have got that for. If you're gonna do it, make it funny. Lord. Lordy.
But getting back on track, I mean, when these people are supposed to represent us and they're up there trying to take away the people's rights over 21,000 deaths, but they turn a blind eye to 460,000 missing children in this country. Does that not?
We're trying to wake the people. I'm just trying to wake people up.
Well, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. I just can't understand why, you know, people tell us we're crazy because the things we talk about, like people don't want to hear it. I understand if you don't want to hear the truth.
It's for,
but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
21,000. It's 22 times worse. There you go. So that'd be what, about 462,000. 21,000 times 20. It's 22 times worse how many kids go missing in this country. So there's a 22 multiplied problem. But
if you took that to your congressman and they took everybody that votes up there in DC and says, did you know your child is 22 times more likely to get kidnapped and sold into sex slavery than you are to be killed with a gun? Do you think they would care? Absolutely. No,
they got armed security. Got a lot of armed security, and you get the pleasure of paying for it.
They're not worried about their children because, like you said, they have armed security, and they're certainly not worried about our children.
Oh no, you're just somebody to be extorted for their benefit. Your wages belong to them because somehow they made everything. But anyhow, like I said, I don't know. So what did you do for your vacation?
Well, we were planning on going on vacation. I was off 9 days, but the first day that I was off, the storm came through. So we're already dealing with a roof issue and a insurance claim on that. So that's another story, but my central heating and air unit went out. So, that put a damper on any kind of plans of going out to vacation. We had to pretty much just stick around home because we didn't have any air for a week. We have window units in a couple of rooms, and I went out and bought a window unit and stuck in. That way I could keep my door closed and just at least stay cool until we got the unit replaced.
We went to Miami.
You spend thousands of dollars on the unit, you can't go out of town.
Yeah, we went to the Keys in Miami. That's why we've been gone. Just tried to.
You went to Miami?
That's what the fuck is that? Salsa music, man. Come on now. Do you know about Cubans and shit? Come on.
What's the people living down there in Miami?
Huh?
Most of them that live down there is Cubans and Spanish and all that, right? That's the kind of music.
Trying to do the Bay of Pigs with the machine gun?
Huh?
What the hell, man?
What'd you say?
I said, you trying to do Bay of Pigs with your machine gun? Fucking motherfucker. Yeah. I went there. Did you watch the fluoride video? I sent it to an alderman. Huh?
When you send it to them?
When I sent it to you, I sent it to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent it to the vice mayor.
You just sent it to me a few minutes.
I sent it to you on Messenger, ass.
Yeah, before we came on here.
Yeah. I didn't know if you watched it today. I didn't know what you were.
Oh, I ain't watched it yet, but I will as soon as we get done.
I just, just talking about it because I was, Wait a minute. Yeah, I did send it to you. Oh, so McFarland Park. I guess that's Memphis. I sent you the picture, right?
Well, I sent you where it said Florence, Alabama, and was it like 500 gallons of diesel fuel?
Yeah, barge went down or something. But what the fuck is it? Sorry, shit's falling under here.
A tugboat recently river near O'Neill Bridge. After sinking, it began to release roughly 3,000 to 5,000 gallons of diesel into the water. Diesel fuel has begun to wash up the beaches of McFarland Park. Officers are currently at McFarland getting people out of the water. And you said McFarland Park is down there.
Well, it was on the Memphis Parks list. That's why I sent you that picture of it because I went and looked it up.
So between 3,000 and 5,000 gallons of diesel fuel is in the Tennessee River, and it's washing up on beaches, I guess, Alabama and Tennessee.
Just something to talk about since you sent it today for breaking news. You were doing some, you were doing some research while you were setting up your new toy.
Yeah.
Go on and give me what's it? Oh God, what? What's a what?
I didn't say
a spoon says what? Come on, man. There you go, Little John. Damn. Yeah. Anyhow, but no, like I said, I'm glad we watched that movie though. It was a decent movie. The wife in there, she was real critical of it today. She's like, well, that stupid guy shouldn't have left his kids with that lady. Thank you very much, Captain Obvious. It's not the point.
You gotta understand. Yeah, she's right. But I said, yeah, your wife's right. You also got to think he didn't have a wife. He's got 2 children. His daughter was a wonderful singer, and she's begging, wanting to go on the auditions and stuff. And this woman, she presented herself like she was legit and had all the, stuff. So, yeah, I can understand both sides. I mean, would I do it? No, but still, you shouldn't have to worry. You shouldn't have to worry about that happening to your children. And
if it does, there should be more tools utilized, more law enforcement, more security things set up, to try to recover the children, catch the culprits. When you catch them, you should, maybe run them butt naked backwards through a cactus field or something. I mean, I don't know what you should do to the pricks.
Well, what did I tell you? I said I think they should be turned over to the parents of the children that they done it to, and let the parents decide what their fate is. If they rip them apart shred by shred, it kind of is what it is.
Well, I mean, it is.
If you take one of my children to hurt one of my children, they find out who you are, you better hope they lock you up, because if I can get to you, I'm sorry.
There was a guy in the 80s or some shit, the father that was it the early 80s or 70s, where the feds were walking him through the place, and he turned around and shot the guy right on camera. They were giving the guy an interview, and he shot him, boy. I can't remember who that was. It was I've seen it in memes here, but they were the perpetrator for the child molestation was walking through like an airport, and he had got a gun in the airport. But this is like a different time.
Yeah, different time.
And he turned around out of that phone booth and shot that guy. And for you millennials, a phone booth is what we used to make phone calls on before we had before we had cell phones. But it's crazy.
A good movie to watch would be Time to Kill. A Time to Kill.
It was similar to A Time to Kill. It didn't have the race in it. You know, they were all white people, so there was no race division in it. But A Time to Kill was more about race or trying to propagandize us with race. So. Did you watch the Bernays? Did you watch the Bernays things on economics? I sent you the vid. Golly, I sent you. Well, I was watching videos today, trying to get prepped.
I don't know if I did or not.
Okay, the one about the guy that, huh?
Does it have to do with what we were going to talk about? If not, then no, I didn't watch it.
No, it was about Bernays and economics and psychology and how he did public affairs instead of propaganda. He changed the word. It's the same thing. You know, public affairs division is basically American propaganda. Americans didn't like the word propaganda.
Right.
They don't want their government to use propaganda on them. So Bernays changed the wording, which again is just conveniently changing the language. Like for the China sniffle, you know, changed the language to herd immunity to include vaccines, which is not true. It's not true. Herd immunity is the herd gets the disease. The ones that survive are now immune. Move on. That's the classic definition. That definition changed here 3 years ago. But again, you know, language needs to stop being fluid because once language becomes fluid, lots of different meanings come into place and we lose our footing. Absolutely. Like the rug's being pulled out from under you.
That's why the Constitution was written a certain way.
Yeah, so like the Second Amendment, we talk a lot on the Second Amendment because that's my big thing. Honestly, it's really, you know. Well, did you watch that? Did you watch the video? The guy about the Madison and the Second Amendment, and I thought he wrote it wrong.
Yeah,
I sent that to you while you were working. What I like, the best part that I took out of
that's one big thing in media today. Not only that, it's not only your big thing; it's the big thing in the media. Every time you turn on TV, they're talking about taking your guns. The politicians.
Well, they got some new shooting that's a reason to take your guns, and you know the meantime that you know today went by and you know say 100 people were killed, but how many thousands of kids came up missing?
Do you know what the time frame is of a kid going missing in this country every day?
Well, every 40 seconds.
Every 40 seconds.
The only thing I want to say about the Second Amendment is what that guy said. Did you catch that part near the end of that video where he was talking about he realized that today's police are the redcoats of 1775?
Absolutely.
That they're running around extorting taxes and exerting tyranny on the people. And that was when he said he changed his mind on the Second Amendment because he realized right then, he's like, wait a minute. Today's cops are yesterday's redcoats.
But see, it's not the police fault.
They're following their orders. They're following their orders.
Yes, but it's the laws that are made and the way they twist and everything and the power they give the police departments and tell them what to do. But me and you, we've had this talk many times. They are sworn in to defend and uphold the Constitution. So anything they do that oversteps that is breaking their oath and breaking their to the people as well. So I don't care what your police department says or what the lawmaker says or whatever. If it doesn't go along with our Constitution and you took an oath to uphold the Constitution and uphold the people's rights and liberties, you shouldn't
stop violating your damn oath and do your job.
Exactly.
You know, your oath breaker.
I couldn't be a police officer because I would be a hated police officer because I wouldn't hold any secrets. I wouldn't violate people's rights. I just couldn't be.
It's just like when we had discussions with your neighbor, ex-cop. We talked to him. He told us it was good to lie to people to get them to confess to a crime or talk their way into a crime. And I think no, absolutely not. As soon as you do that, you are now the bad guy. As soon as you, what about your, aren't you supposed to have integrity? Where's your integrity go as soon as you start lying to somebody? I mean,
they don't have any integrity. They don't have any moral, don't have anything. They'll do anything in their power in their drafts to get you to admit something or put you in a position.
And then based on the level of crime. See what I'm saying? If it's a petty crime or something stupid like you're a junkie, they want to flip you into an informant and then use you like a little pawn, like, you know, like, and I think the whole informant thing is just a whole crock of shit. Honestly, I really, you know, because now you flip somebody into being an informant. I mean, what's the sound of his freedom? You know what I mean? The sound of his freedom should have been shutting the fuck up and telling the cop where to go fuck himself, honestly. And then just shutting the fuck up and go to court. That's what you should do. You understand that Fifth Amendment is the thing that everyone hates. Lawyer up. You know, it's all you can do. If you're not talking your way out of jail, but you can certainly talk your way into it. That's one thing. You know, it's better to just be quiet in a lot of things. But what I'm saying is, you know, the cops, they don't have much integrity. They, you know, and you see the numbers. We're giving you the numbers, all these kids, but the power's up at the top of the poll, like the Clintons. You see what I'm saying? They're perfectly happy with it going on. They love it. They love it. It's more, you know, more children for them to have fun with. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want, you know, they don't want these rings brought down. They'd rather send billions to Ukraine and blow up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. I mean, that's the truth, you know, the cold hard truth of this bad simulation and reality we're living in right now. You know, let's hope it's Matrix, honestly, because I don't see if this is, you know, scary if this is real. That there's so many people that, like I was telling you about the Bernays, he used to run around and call people dopes, you know, and it's hard for me to argue in a lot of ways. People can't back up and, you know, see the forest for the trees.
You was talking about informants. Here's a good movie. Here's a good movie for watch. It's a true, based on a true story. It's called Above Suspicion. It's on Netflix. It come out in 2019. Elysia Clark is a star in it. You know who she is? Mother Dragon from. It's a relationship between a drug dealer informant and a FBI agent. All right, this FBI agent manipulates and controls this young trashy girl from a part of Kentucky where there's not much wealth. They're pretty stagnant.
Text me the name of it.
It's Above Suspicion.
Text it to me. I'll text it to you.
Okay, go ahead. But he manipulates and controls her to be an informant, makes her fall in love with him. They're having sex or whatever, and then he ends up killing her. So he manipulated her to bring other people down. He used her and had sex with her, even though he was married with a child. And then in the end, he ended up killing her and disposing of her body.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something good for people to watch. It's a true story.
Well, okay. So what I was saying, just to try to show it, what I was saying about today's police are 1775 redcoats. You remember John Adams in the first series of John Adams was about the Boston Massacre,
right? So
the redcoats and the way they played that, not beating on cops in a way, but the way they played it, I would, after seeing that, there's a lot of sympathy for the redcoats because, I mean, did they do it? Yes. Was it antagonized and drummed on? Sure. Did John, and that's crazy. The history, just the history that John Adams, the second president, defended him and got him off because technically they don't know who really gave the order to fire, but they fired. There was a lot of misinterpretation and them redcoats were just doing their jobs, doing what the king said. Right. Years later, you find out the problem of the king. And then the problem of the king became, well, he's got a real problem. You've got a 56 men in this country who are banging together to send him a There you go. We're free. We're dissolving from you and your, all allegiances. Bye. He spent lots of Crown's money and killed lots. And that's, I mean, just looking at that, he killed lots of English troops coming over here to fight us. And now, we send how many of our, our kids over to what? To fight for the interests of this country? And what's the interest? Why are our soldiers guarding poppy fields in Afghanistan?
That's what I like about I share so many memes when it's July 4th. Like it says, the holiday we're celebrating exists because people were armed,
No.
Happy Treason Day, ungrateful colonials.
Yeah.
Have fun at work tomorrow, England. Treason is a reason for the season.
Yeah, I haven't sent you that one video yet from Patrick Bett about he did that showing the percentages of millennials and Gen Zs that have been going against are not proud of this country. This country is in a lot of trouble. The military is going to start slipping because of these unions and this woke agenda and everything. But again, I mean, I would say if you asked the Chinese tomorrow, what are you more scared of, the U.S. military or the rednecks in the hills? They'd probably say the rednecks in the hills.
Absolutely. Without a question.
They'd be like, oh, we could probably take California, but once we get to those rednecks in Arizona, Nevada, we had trouble.
Well, that was one, and the reason I put it, I gotta get back on the New Mexico. In 2021 shows that New Mexico was the nation's second highest rate of abductions and kidnappings. New Mexico.
Which one?
New Mexico. It'll show that
one. Yeah.
Yeah, it says October 5th they released data from 2021 that showed Mexico had the nation's second highest rate of total crime per person. The number also shows New Mexico per population kidnapping and abduction rate was the highest in the nation. They're the highest for kidnapping and abduction rate population, and they're second highest in total crimes. There's not a whole lot of people out there, so the people out there is committing a whole lot of crimes. Red.
Red. Where's Red at?
No,
he's in New Mexico. I know he's in New Mexico.
So,
oh boy,
stats tell us by that our buddy Red has got to be a criminal. He's got to be.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't know that. He was denied a transfer once out there because they said he was a fugitive from justice for not paying his stop sign ticket. Fugitive from justice. He's a fugitive from justice because he didn't pay his dues to the crown. How dare you not pay the crown, you little kid. God, I'm break that toy.
You don't like my new toy?
No, I don't.
I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, God. Oh, my. So, I don't know. We've just been over a whole lot today. I don't know how much more you want to elaborate on.
I just want people we need to unite on this. Not just people here in this state or local, in this country. We need to unite to eliminate the child sex slavery epidemic. That's the real epidemic. They don't tell you the truth about the real epidemics. They want to talk Chinese bird flu and murders by weapons and things like that, trying to say things that aren't going to get kicked off YouTube. They want to tell you those or the drugs are epidemics when they are the one created the war on drugs after they brought all the drugs into the country, so the real epidemic is our children coming up missing and being sold into sex slavery. That's the real epidemic.
That's that's a big one. It's up there, just along with the drugs, which most of the hood guys on the corner don't have airplanes and cigarette boats to run all those drugs, but they get them somehow.
That's because our country brings
military guards, our military guards the poppy fields in Afghanistan because, for reasons.
I'm sure cocaine fields and somewhere else.
Yeah, well, that was funny. You start talking about what they were down there in Colombia, and you're like, "Oh, that's poppy." I don't know, coca leaves.
I said it. I couldn't see from far away. I said, "Those ain't poppy fields."
Like, well, you were in row 3. Come on, now. Shit, you couldn't see from it. You should have been right up on it. You should have been able to smell it. Like, ooh, it smells like coca.
Yeah, but I mean, the view of it, they were showing it far away.
Oh God. Anyhow, the only thing I want to say on local is, and I sent you the video. I hope you watch it about the fluoride.
We need to go back and watch Monday night's meeting. It was one last Monday night. I ain't see it.
And like I said, I did send 2 messages to the vice mayor, and I want to talk about fluoride. I do. And he brought up our mutual friend, Mr. Steven, and how Mr. Steven was trying to get them under King Wilbert or whatever to remove the fluoride. Basically, the video I sent him is only 5 months old. It's a good video. I sent it to you too. The council, I would, they should share it. That was my suggestion. Share it, please. Give it to the, and go watch the history of fluoride.
I'll email it naturally.
Huh?
Is it where I can email it?
It's on your messenger. If it's on your messenger, you got to be friends with them, I guess, on Messenger. But I'm sure you could.
No, I'm
talking about YouTube. You can go to YouTube, click the URL, copy the link, and then email it if you've got the emails. But I don't know how these government computers are. If it's government emails, they might have it blocked. Like NSFW.
I'll try to email it to all of
them. You can email it to all of them if they get it, but that's not guarantee. I know Messenger, you'll get it. Whether they want to take the 25 minutes to enlighten themselves on the history and the lie of 110 years of fluoride from aluminum byproduct production. It's up to them if they want to look at it, but it's a great myth. And it also goes back along with that Edward Bernays and all the shit that he did. He was Sigmund Freud's nephew. Some people know who Sigmund Freud is just because how popular he is, but and that was that series on Netflix. That's another series. It's a 3-part series, Genius of the Modern World. Karl Marx, then Nietzsche, and lastly was Sigmund Freud. So the 3. Them 3 guys really changed this world in the course of about 80 years. And again, you sit there and people say, "Oh, you Marxists." What's our mutual friend who? What's his name for me? I'm his favorite little what? The one that just had that wreck.
Oh,
I'm his favorite little what? He calls me.
You're his favorite little what? I don't know.
You don't remember him calling me his favorite little Marxist?
No, I didn't.
Communist. Oh, maybe it was communist. I don't know.
Communist, yeah, communist.
Yeah. Favorite little.
Well, before we go, the only thing I want to say local is we've been off the vacation and all the things going. The only thing local I want to talk about was the little girl Maddie. I don't know if you've seen it. You don't on Facebook much. You might have seen it when you're going through town, where the signs of Maddie Strong and people wearing the shirts and all that. Well, she's a a daughter of someone that works at the chamber, and she was in the hospital battling, and she finally got out. So everybody was pulling behind her and hoping she would get out and she would recover. So the last thing I heard, she was out and was doing. I mean, I hadn't heard in the last, I think, week. So hopefully she still is. I just wanted to bring that up, that the town and community really pulled around trying to give her family support and her support, and shirts and signs, and sending out prayers and everything to her that she'd be okay, because she was having a real rough time, and it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what's been done, any of that. When a child is sick and is battling something, the only thing that matters at that point is their well-being. So it doesn't matter if I hated you or you hated me or vice versa. If one of our child is sick and battling something like that, especially a special needs child, you pull behind them and you give them support and you do the right thing, and we'll worry about all the other crap that doesn't matter at that moment at a later time, So I hope she's out well and still doing well, and everything will be all right. So that's all I got to say on that.
The only thing I wanted to say local, well, the only thing, I guess I didn't know about that. Like I said, I stay off of Facebook. If I get on it once, twice, probably. So there's days I don't get on it for 3 days. Another thing on the Facebook thing, if you're a Facebook friend and you message this Spoon and Pudding account, it's not monitored. It just sits on a extra phone, an auxiliary phone. It just sits around. So if you message us, we won't see it.
I'm not on it at all. Pudding's got
it's
all
over here
control.
on there's a spare phone here, and that's where everything sits, and it just sits there. It's just kind of idle. It's not on my phone. I get on like once a week. And
now the email, I think the email.
We monitor the email. If you want to get in touch with us, it's the email. We should.
Well, I don't.
Huh?
I don't anymore because
I do. Well, but you can see the emails. If somebody sends an email, it'll pop up. Most of the spam, one thing about Google that they are good at on the Gmail is spam gets pretty well hidden, but a real message, they do kind of put priority on that, So if you want to message me or Spoon, email is the best way.
Right.
But like I said, the Facebook account is only once a week or something, just to add friends or, see who's requested to be friends, and then we just add anybody. But if you get a request from us, it's just us. Hey, want to watch our show? Maybe comment. Again, YouTube's the best way to comment now. I've always liked YouTube comments
because it pops up here.
Show up easy. Yeah, they're real easy. We don't have to. Back in the day, even the older shows where Spoon he'd be watching the Facebook feed. The bad thing about Facebook is you'll only see the comment if you're also friends with the person, which was kind of stupid. It's like, because if I was watching it on the Facebook stream and somebody would comment and I wasn't friends with them, but you had the main page, you'd see it. I wouldn't see it. I tried to do it a couple times and it never worked because I wasn't friends with them.
So we're neither one of us is.
We just don't watch Facebook. We don't monitor it. It's just a place for us to. If you like our show, go subscribe on YouTube, hit the bell, comment there because we'll answer you. But like I said, we, even though YouTube tries to suppress us for all the bad stuff we did back in the day, showing their results from the freest and fairest elections, and they didn't like that too much. They're like, "How dare you show that happened?" But anyway, I ain't got much more today, Mr. Spoon. You got anything?
No.
Well, I guess we'll see y'all next Sunday morning, right?
Yeah, next Sunday morning we're going to start back on.
Yep. We'll start back on a Sunday morning. Yeah, Sundays are good for me always. So
until you change jobs again, and we'll figure something out.
Oh God, I've tried not to change jobs so much, but there's so many problems. Ha 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 ha.
All right, we'll see
y'all next week.
Got a monster inside of me. You better watch out if you're